What's up, guys? Welcome back to another EVE Online video. I'm going to be going over scanning cosmic signatures in this video, kind of a guide, give you kind of some basic information and efficiency suggestions as far as, how to efficiently scan down cosmic signatures. I'll offer you as much of the shortcuts and kind of the way that I do it. And then I'll also give you this Astero bit and talk about implants and things like that. But implants and fit might differ a little bit based on what your needs are. I prefer to do relic sites, so I'm going to expect a little bit more towards relics. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. So normally when I'm getting ready to start scanning something, I'm just going to hit F9. That's going to bring up my menu. I have my probe scanner separated from this window, and you could do that. If this little box up here, if you click this is how it'll normally open up if you haven't used it before. You can click this little box, and it'll actually separate it from the map. I use that quite a bit. And then this is just the solar system, right? And then these are the signatures. If you click on them, then it'll center them in your view, or you can double click them and it'll lock them in place like that. The other thing you could do is actually click anywhere in open space after you've centered, and it'll actually rotate 90 degrees to top view, side view, and then the scroll wheel will actually let you go in and out. And that's become really irrelevant whenever we start scanning. So the first thing I normally do is I'll launch my probes like this, and then I'll actually cloak up, because you can actually scan and do all the things you need to do while being cloaked, which is just a safety measure. So normally if I'm coming into a fresh system like this, I'm going to go basically on top of the star and make sure I'm kind of centered up in the middle, because everything's kind of like right in there. And then I'll kind of zoom out and kind of look at the overall spread, and I'll adjust accordingly. So we're going to start at 16 AU. And then I'm going to hit B for Bravo. B is going to be your scan analyze. And also I have directional scan up here, as you can see as well. So I can, if you're in wormhole space, you can hit V for Victor. And that'll actually scan your D scan, so you can kind of keep an eye on that. So now we have this first ping. You can see kind of like the different, ranges and stuff like, that have come across. We haven't really gotten a really good decision on which direction we want to go. So I'm actually going to go down to 8 AU on this. One thing to note here is cosmic signatures will always appear within 5 AU of a celestial. So if all of the cosmic signatures are around a certain group of celestials, you can actually like save yourself a lot of time there. So like this one here, this is a celestial right here, and that's where that data site most likely is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of like make sure it's centered up there. I'm going to attempt to go, we're going to go 4 AU on it to see if we can get a little bit more strength, but I'm pretty sure we're almost dead close to that one. You could have probably done like a 2 AU scan. The increments I usually scan are like 1, 2, 4, and 8. Depending on like the scan level is really what it's going to take. So that's probably going to be a 2. And so I'll just go and hit analyze again. You don't have to have these probes centered exactly on these things for it to work, but I just do it out of practice. And so we've got that one. And then as you can see, this relic over here is going to be near this celestial group. So I'm just going to go over here, and I'm going to keep it at 2 AU. Because I think that relic site's going to be right near one of these. And they're relatively close to each other. So I think that's going to be a hard lock on that one as well whenever it gets done. A little bit of variance. Relics are a little bit tougher to scan down normally. Just because the first data site was a difficulty 1. This is a level 2. So we might have to go down to 1 AU to actually get green on it. Another thing I'll show you is a little bit more control, where you can like adjust range and cluster size, or cluster configuration, I suppose, within here. Because like over here in this probe scanner, you can actually set the let's bring it all the way back up. You can set like the cluster configuration with these buttons. So it's going to change kind of like this. I usually keep it on pinpoint, and then obviously this is your range adjustment. If you hold down Alt, you're going to see these arrows pop up, and you can actually use your scroll wheel to adjust the ranges like that. And then also if you hold down Control and use the scroll wheel, you can adjust their overlap. So the higher you go up, you can like separate them out like this, or you can bring them in like that, and then you can adjust your ranges. You can also just kind of drag these arrows out as well, and then adjust the arrows like this. I usually keep it on pinpoint formation. I usually start scans at 16 AU depending, but see, we have one more signature here. This is actually a split. It's like a triangulation split. What it means is like it's giving us two possible locations here. So we ended up. It's usually always the point furthest away from where your probes last scanned, which was right here. So it could be either one really, but always go for like the one that's furthest away. So it might be the one down there, but we're going to keep it at, we'll bring it down to 8 and just kind of hit the scan on that. Once you get really good with the shortcuts and everything, it becomes really, really quick to clear systems, which is really easy. Wormholes are a lot easier to scan. So like we picked the right one on that. Wormholes are a lot easier to scan, so if you actually wanting to get proficient in like wormhole exploration and stuff like that, then all these little tricks will kind of help you. We're going to come down to 4 AU on this because we're pretty much guaranteed that it's going to be probably, it could be actually either on this celestial or it could be over here. But this next scan should give us a little bit closer view. Yeah. Go over here. Go down to 2 AU. See where that celestial is. Sometimes this will work. Like, I'm pretty sure like if we kept scanning this, it's going to try to bring us down over here next to the celestial, but we'll see if we can actually shortcut it. We might be moving too far. Yeah. So, and this little, actually, I wanted to show you this too. This little like red, like radius. If you see that, it means that your probe's coverage needs to be at least like that size. As you see there, we've got it like kind of covering pretty well densed out. Sleeper sights, level 4 scan difficulty, that stuff, you're going to have a lot higher scan strength and everything like that. So here's this deviation too, again. So we're going to go to the furthest point away from where our scan was last, and we're actually just going to do another 2 AU scan. And that should give us an updated ping location, because we're 24.1 right now, and it's going to end up being by that celestial, but it was still too far off for us to actually skip all the way down. There we go. Now, at this point, we can just go down to 1 AU. Sometimes relic sites, you got to go down to like half an AU, like 0.5 AU to get it. But it really just kind of depends on how you drill it down. But hopefully these little tricks and stuff like that will help you and all that. So another trick you can do if you're like bouncing around a lot of systems and start scanning, once I come through the gate in a new system, I already have my star map up and everything like that. And like, let's say there's a celestial or there's like a structure I'm going to go hang out at, or a pause or whatever. I'll go ahead and like, start warping that direction, and I'll go ahead and actually launch the probe and kind of start doing the initial scans, and then turn on cloaking, because then like if it's a big system and you're actually moving around, you can already start scanning instead of waiting to get to a location to do so, which kind of really depends on what you want to do. And I always just use this recover active probes up here in the top of the probe scanner to bring them all back. And then I don't usually carry spares for me, but you do have to be uncloaked in order to reload it. So I'm just going to talk about my fit a little bit. Obviously, it's going to change depending on what type of ship you're in, but this is a Astero. So I'm running a Covert cloaking device, and I like using the Sister's Core probe launcher. And then I have a cap recharger because I like to have my prop mod running when I'm doing like relic sites and not necessarily worry about cap. And I'm running a 5MN Microwarpdrive II, and I run a Data Analyzer II and a Relic Analyzer II, just for clearing SIGs, even if I'm not necessarily interested in datas. I run 2 Inertial Stabilizers and then 2 Overdrive Injectors, and then 1 small gravity capacitor upgrade 2, and obviously the core probe launchers, and then Hornets. With this configuration, and what you can do is you can actually launch your probes and actually see, you can all see it in the fit window. But currently with skills and everything, I got 124 scan strength, and then my scan deviation is 0.068, and then scan speed is 5.4 seconds, which is pretty decent. A lot of that comes from, I'm also running some implants as well. So I just run my normal +5s for training, but then I use the Prospector Pinpointing, Acquisition, and Rangefinding, the 610, and the 710, and the 810. And then I run a Prospector Archaeology, which is the 905, and then the Environmental Analysis, which is the 1005. What this one does is this just kind of helps with both the virus coherence for both data and relics, and then the archaeology just gives me a little bit more of a punch on the relic side. Since that's where really a lot of the value comes in with the two, I'd rather just be a little bit more spec into the relic side of stuff. But yeah, hopefully this video helped you. If you have any other things to add to this in the comments. I'm sure people love to know a little bit more tips and tricks and all that. But thank you for watching, and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.